Hi everyone, my name's Scott. Welcome to Planes, Trains, Everything, and welcome to something you've probably never seen on YouTube before. There are 4 main coach operators in the UK: Scottish Citylink, Megabus, Flixbus and National Express. And I was wondering, who's the best? I've travelled on all 4 before and I can't decide. They all have toilets, air conditioning, reclining seats, individual reading lights, and those little fan things where you can change the direction of the airflow. How do you decide? If you choose your coach correctly, you can travel between Glasgow and London in about 8.5 hours. But tomorrow, on this epic video, I'm going to be travelling between Glasgow and London in 22 hours. And that's probably why it's never been done on YouTube before. And the reason why it takes so long is because I'm using all 4 coach companies. I'm using Citylink between Glasgow and Edinburgh, Flixbus onto Newcastle, Megabus onto Manchester, then National Express onto London. But how am I going to decide between the 4? Well, I've got a cunning plan. I'm going to be awarding points. This is the 21st century and I'm going to be awarding a point for every coach that has got one of those little USB adapters. I'm going to be awarding a point for Wi-Fi, a bonus point if the Wi-Fi actually works. But the thing which is going to separate the coach companies, I think, is the legroom. I'm going to be measuring the distance between my kneecap and the seat in front. For every centimetre, they get a point. But they could also lose a point if the seat is dirty, if there's litter, if something's broken, or if there's something there that just compromises my enjoyment of the journey. Anyway guys, I hope to see you bright and early at Glasgow's Buchanan bus station tomorrow morning for this epic 22-hour journey to London. Don't forget to fasten your seatbelts because it's a legal requirement on UK coaches. I'll see you at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Good morning guys, welcome to Glasgow's Buchanan bus station at stupid o'clock. Are you ready for coach number 1, Citylink from Glasgow to Edinburgh? Let's get on board. Okay, we're here in Edinburgh. That was Citylink. I will give you a points tally at the end of the video, although I will tell you they lost a point for something I've never seen on a coach before. Okay, we're on our way to Newcastle now on Flixbus. It's a 3-hour journey. To be honest, I have trouble finding faults with Flixbus. They've got it down to a fine art. But on this quest, I'm not taking any prisoners. But I'll see you on board. Welcome to Newcastle. I'll give you the score for Flixbus at the end of the video. Needless to say, they've got a good strong score and no deductions. Okay, we've got 2 hours here before Megabus leaves for Manchester. I'm going to grab a bite to eat. I'll see you back here in 2 hours.
Service is M36 from Cardiff, shall call it Manchester, Newcastle on the line, Birmingham, Bristol Ewing, Bristol City Centre, and from there to Cardiff. Bottom right.
Well guys, we've made it to Manchester. Megabus were pretty good, but there were 2 problems and they got penalised on one of them. I'll explain what that is at the end of the video. Right, we're here at Shude Hill coach station. We have to get to Manchester coach station. That's where National Express leaves from. Now we do have a couple of hours to kill. I'm going to get some food because this is my last opportunity before we arrive into London tomorrow. I should mention as well, at the start of the video I mentioned a complication when it comes to scoring points, and it's to do with National Express. Back in May 2022 I shared a hack with you, and that was on some overnight services on National Express. If you book seat 2A or 2B, you would expect to see row 1A and 1B ahead of you. That's not the case. You usually find a solo seat, and that's allocated for people with mobility issues. So if you book 2A in advance, you get unlimited leg room. And I thought that's a bit unfair on the other coach companies if I award National Express 100 points because they gave me 100 centimetres of leg room. So plan of action is, once we leave Manchester tonight, I'll nip across, check one of the normal seats. If it doesn't work tonight, I'll do it tomorrow before we arrive into London. Right, food, bus station, in that order. I'll see you in a few hours. Well, the coach station for National Express is pretty dull inside. Everything's shut. I'm glad I ate elsewhere. I'm still here with loads of time, so I might go for a little wander. Not too far, because I don't want to get lost. I'll see you back here at the bus station. Well, imagine my disappointment when I stumbled across Chinatown. I'd looked everywhere for a Chinese restaurant up at Victoria Gardens and couldn't find a thing, so I ended up dining at the Golden Arches restaurant. If only I'd known Chinatown was around the corner from the bus station. I'll know that next time. Right, let's get back to this boring old bus station.
My leg from the top to the bottom. Due service to London Victoria. This coach will be stopping at. Okay folks, this coach will be stopping at Manchester Airport, Penkridge, Wolverhampton, Dudley, Birmingham. Birmingham is where we'll take a service break and we'll be swapping over drivers. Then it'll be on to Birmingham Airport, Coventry, Milton Keynes, Luton Airport, London Golders Green and our final destination, which will be London Victoria.
Thanks a lot.
Take care, mate.
Well guys, 22 hours after I left Glasgow, finally made it to the London Victoria coach station. It's actually 23 hours because we arrived 55 minutes late due to roadworks and the heavy fog. I would not recommend doing that journey, especially that last part with National Express, because the coach stopped at such locations as Manchester Airport, Penkridge, Wolverhampton, Dudley, Birmingham Airport, Coventry, Milton Keynes, Luton Airport, Golders Green, finally here at London Victoria coach station. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to organise the stats. I'm going to show you how I voted for each company, and then I will show you who the winner is, because I know you're sitting on the edge of your chair. And that will be coming along in approximately 2 seconds. Okay, so let's get cracking on these scores here. I've got the facts and figures down on a bit of cardboard. Citylink between Glasgow and Edinburgh. USB, 1 point. Wi-Fi, 0 points. Number of centimetres between my kneecap and the seat in front, a very stingy 6, that's all. But they did lose a point, and that's because of the fixed footrest. I've never actually come across that before. Fortunately, it was only about 1 hour and 20 minutes, but that could have been a really uncomfortable, longer journey. A fixed footrest, you lost a point for that. In fact, because of that, I am sure that Ryanair offer more seat room than Citylink on that particular coach service. And I must point out, I understand that isn't the usual coach you get between Glasgow and Edinburgh, but on the day, that's what they provided. So, what else can I say about Citylink? They have these cool cameras on each side of the coach and at the back, and these are displayed on a TV screen. So if you want to watch the motorway traffic between Glasgow and Edinburgh, you can do so. It's cool. They have blue lighting, which was a bit dazzling at 7:45 in the morning. I wasn't too keen on that. The driver was really friendly as well, because he recognised me. He's a subscriber. Hint, hint. So, total of 6 points for Citylink. Next we've got Flixbus between Edinburgh and Newcastle. USB, 1 point. Wi-Fi, 1 point. Was the Wi-Fi working? Number of centimetres between my kneecap and the seat in front, 10. Any deductions? No. Total of 12 points. But here are a few observations. And it was the USB locations. What a weird setup. On my side of the bus, on the right-hand side, they were on the seat in front. However, I heard a passenger asking the driver on the other side, the left-hand side of the coach, where's the USB? And he had to point it out to him, and he said, strangely enough, they're all actually on the roof underneath the luggage rack next to the individual reading lights. On that side of the coach, they're all up there. On my side of the coach, they're in the seat in front. Very, very strange design, and I wouldn't have noticed that unless one of the passengers actually asked the driver, where are the USB points? Very strange thing. Also, we were held up for traffic for roadworks at Eyemouth. And then we noticed that the clock had jumped 2 hours, so we were starting to panic, and quite a few people had said, how come we're running 2 hours late? But for some reason the clock had just suddenly decided to run 2 hours fast. Anyway, that was Flixbus. Next we've got Megabus between Newcastle and Manchester. USB, 1 point. Wi-Fi, 1 point. Was the Wi-Fi working? Number of centimetres between my kneecap and the seat in front, 21. Now I thought I might have scored a disabled seat of some sort. I tried 2 other seats, they all had 21 centimetres of legroom. I couldn't believe that. That is amazing. They did lose 1 point, however. It was to do with where to leave your device when you're charging it. The charging device was actually underneath the seat in front, and they don't actually have trays on the seat in front. So you either have to hold the device or leave it lying around on the floor. And I thought that is a very poor design. 22 points, however. The Wi-Fi signal when we left Newcastle was so weak, it eventually disconnected me and we had no Wi-Fi for the rest of the journey. And finally we've got National Express between Manchester and London. USB, no. Although I will point out, when one of the passengers asked if there were USBs on board and the driver or the relief driver said no, he actually loaned the passenger his power bank. He said, as long as I get it back at the end of the journey. You wouldn't get that on other coach companies, but he actually loaned his power bank to another passenger so he could charge his phone. I thought that's brilliant, but he still got no points for USBs. Wi-Fi, yes. Was it working? Yes. Number of centimetres, 10 between my kneecap and the seat in front. Any deductions? No. 12 points. But here's a few things worth mentioning. They provide leather seats, unlike the other companies. And I find that when I travel on National Express, I feel as if the ribbing in the back of the seat actually digs into my back. Maybe it's just me, maybe the actual fabric they use because it is leather is thinner, but I always feel as if I can feel the actual workings of the seat digging into my spine. As expected, someone tried to nick my seat. I did book 2A for the extra legroom, but I was number 6 onto the coach itself, and by then someone had already nicked my seat, you know. And those signs saying you were allowed to tip your driver if we desired. I've never seen that on a coach before. We also had a 20-minute break at Birmingham, but then out of the 4 journeys, that was the longest. So who won? I've got a couple of things to ask. Firstly, can you give me a thumbs up? I've travelled 22 hours across the UK for this video, and it was a physical challenge, so I think that deserves a thumbs up at least. Can I also ask you a question? Do you have a favourite coach or a least favourite coach? One you wouldn't touch with a barge pole? I'm curious to see what comments come up on this. But my big question is, I know there's a couple of coach and bus drivers who watch this fine channel. I've got a question for you. How do you switch on the Wi-Fi? Is there a button? Does it come on when you turn the ignition key? Does it come on automatically when you switch on the internal lights for boarding? I find more often than not, Wi-Fi doesn't work on coaches. It works on the trains relatively okay, but with coaches, it's really hit and miss. I'm wondering what the problem is. And I know my phone works because I was able to pick up National Express between Manchester and London. While we were at Edinburgh, I was able to pick up Lothian Buses Wi-Fi, and when we were at Newcastle, I was able to pick up Stagecoach. So I know the phone works. Okay, let's have a look at the final tally. In 4th place, Citylink on 6 points. In 3rd place, it's actually a tie between National Express and Flixbus. But I'm going to give the bronze medal to National Express and the silver medal to Flixbus purely because of the comfort of their seats. I find Flixbus seats are really quite comfy. I always find that National Express, like I said, something digs into my back. I don't know what it is about National Express coach seats, but they are uncomfortable. And the gold medal goes to Megabus. At the start of this video I said it would probably be the legroom which would separate these coach companies, and that's why Megabus won with 22 points. Anyway guys, thanks very much for watching this fine video. You know it's good, and I'll see you next time.